Hello and welcome to When Wrestlers Act. I'm John Cronshaw, and I'm joined today, as always, by Colin Cox.
Hello, John.
Hey, you know what this is?
What is this?
This is premium content, baby.
Premium?
Yeah. This is the Patreon stuff. This is what people are paying
Is this
for.
like the Fever Tree tonic water that I've just put in my gin and tonic?
This is where you need to get your A game on, man. 'Cause
Okay.
This is like, you know what I mean? I feel really bad for anyone who's paid for this, I'll be honest. Because we just watched China, Illinois, Series 2, Episode 1.
What the fuck was this, John?
Just let me finish. This started and it had a bit of a voice of Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
So this is why we've watched this show, because it's got a wrestler doing a bit of voice. It's a cartoon. Hulk Hogan did a bit of voice in the intro.
It was just for like a continuity link, wasn't it?
That was it.
And
That was
it.
all that happened. Don't get me wrong, it's not going to stop us from reviewing the show. He was in it. It falls under the When Wrestlers Act remit. I mean, for fuck's sake, we did Problem Child. That had Kerry Von Erich in as, what was it, like Neo-Nazi 4 or something on the credits. So
I think he says a line of, yeah.
possibly. I mean, the fact that we had to look at the credits and go, who was he? Oh, right, okay. So we missed him. Shame. Yeah, he was fine, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Possibly. So Hulk Hogan's role in this...
Until he killed himself.
What? Oh, okay.
Not Hulk Hogan. He's just dead on the inside.
Yeah, so Hulk Hogan, he said a line, we didn't quite catch it. So, a big fail on our part.
Well, we just thought...
But you know what?
We've got to be back in because we were playing the game of... we didn't know who was going to be in it, so it was Guess the Rest.
Yeah. But, we heard his voice in the intro. We thought, Hulk Hogan's going to be in this. That'll be interesting. Maybe slightly,
Racist.
Well, not necessarily, not in this.
Right.
I mean,
Just in general.
yeah. Just on that one sex tape that got leaked,
I can't believe he banned me on Twitter.
Who?
Blocked me on Twitter.
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Bubba the Love Sponge and his
Hulk Hogan
wife.
blocked me on Twitter because I called him out as a massive racist. I don't have a Twitter anymore, so I don't have the thing that says I'm blocked by Hulk Hogan.
No.
No.
Sounds like you made it up then.
No, because I think if I create a new Twitter...
So this started off, and we got the impression that it was the first day of school, and that there's all these teachers, and they're in their teaching lounge. Is that what it's called? Staff room.
Staff room.
Yeah.
Yes.
We get introduced to the staff.
Yes. They're all irritating.
There's a guy who...
Is bald.
Is he the guy who's got a beard, and he's a bit anxious?
Yes.
Okay, and then there's a woman who seems a bit insecure.
Yes, she's got a slightly large waist, I think.
Yeah, and then there's a guy who's totally cool, who's also a paedophile.
And he's the bald one.
And then there's a guy who is something to do with vending machines, has created an energy bar. But they've all got... What I like about this, what was really good, is they've all got really, really deep storylines, right? So you had the pedo guy. He wanted to score with a student, so that was his storyline.
Yeah, it seemed that the student with whom he wanted to score was the one who, in the outset, didn't like him because I think he wants a conquest.
It was
and then he turned it around and
literally within about 15 seconds
Yeah.
of interaction, so there wasn't much depth to that. Then there was the woman who was insecure, who wanted to go on a date with someone. She went on a date and it didn't go well, and then she felt insecure.
Yeah, I mean, I think she was like some sort of PhD student or something because she was pitched as someone who was young but still having to deliver lectures and stuff. So I think she's like a PhD student,
right.
And all these, like older than everyone else at the college, but younger than all the teachers and everything.
Yeah, because it felt like a school. I've taught at universities before and there was never a staff room and stuff. So I just thought it was a school, but it might not be. It might be like a university setting.
Well,
Yeah.
everyone was like totally chill, man.
Yeah. And then what was it?
And these were all called Professor something or other.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know about American schools.
No,
They said it was a school. I mean, I suppose they call it a school, don't they?
Well, they call it university a
Oh,
college.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
They call an electoral voting system a college.
Yeah, so it's
Americans.
just cultural differences, man. Like, how are we going to solve this war? There is a war, isn't there?
Oh,
Is there?
possible.
You know what? I've stopped watching. I mean, if we're at war with America, I've no idea. I've stopped watching the news. So
I hope not. They've got more weapons than us.
yeah, but we've got a special relationship, so we'll be fine. I think. I'm not a diplomat. I'll be honest. Right. So there's the guy who is a history teacher. His thing is he wants to be the best teacher ever and wants to deliver the perfect lesson.
Lecture.
He
uses lecture, so I'm guessing that's higher education.
Damn it. But they might call it that in schools. I don't know.
I think so. They're all called professor something.
Yeah.
And
So really, he's the lecturer who is into students and isn't necessarily a paedophile.
yes.
He's just a guy who's into students.
And wants to be yeah.
Okay. So it's not quite as bad. So the guy who's the history lecturer, his storyline is he wants to give the perfect lecture, and he gives the perfect lecture, and then he wants to reproduce the perfect lecture, but he thinks he needs to reproduce basically the night before that led up to it, which involved him pooing himself in front of a woman and doing all sorts of stupid things.
Drinking too much margarita in a little restaurant.
And vomiting.
It's because he sees this baseball player on the telly doing this weird ritual that is, before he throws his ball in the rounders, and he says, "That's it. I've got to do it all again."
Yeah.
So he does all this again, and
Several times,
stabs a guy in the face.
Oh, yeah.
Over and over again. And the joke is, every time he does his so-called perfect lecture, it's just the same as the one before. Literally the same as the one before.
But then he explodes at the end, or does some weird
and they're
electric
a bit
stuff.
Less impressed with it every time, and what's this? It's happened over and over again.
So the guy who's doing the energy bar stuff, he does some energy bars, and they're funny flavours. They're unusual. So he starts off with like a barbecue sauce energy bar. Isn't that weird, Colin? Wouldn't you say that's weird?
Was that like when Walker's Crisps did their squirrel and onion flavours and stuff? I mean, how would they know? Did they actually put squirrel in there?
Yeah, hopefully.
I don't think they did.
They went round putting them into machines and giving them to people. And then he was like, oh, I'm going to do some more unusual flavours. So he was like, swimsuit flavour and hair flavour. Yeah. And then the energy bars got banned. That was the end of his storyline.
Yeah.
The woman who wanted a date, she goes to speak to someone who's really old and goes, oh, I'm not as old as you.
This old woman shows her lots of pictures of her through the ages and how she was a good-looking woman until she just happened to hit 80. But then the moral of the story, she says that she's better looking now.
Right.
Back then.
Right.
So inner beauty and all that bullshit. Because all women are beautiful on both inside and outside.
Dude, you can't say that.
I can't say that all women are beautiful.
Perv?
Alright, all women are fucking ugly.
Better.
Equality, John.
Yeah. Don't you just love what's his name? What's that wrestler's name? Johnny Wrestling. What's he called?
John Morrison.
No, the Johnny
Gargano. Yeah.
Don't you love his abs? Think you can do that now?
Yes.
Don't you love Finn Balor's abs?
I do. And Dave Meltzer's abs as well.
Yeah. So you can talk about that. That's fine. But just avoid. I'm serious. I just don't want to get us in Twitter.
It is 2018 after all.
Yeah. So
we're not allowed to talk about Rose McGowan's ass?
No.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no. Unless we watch an episode of Charmed, starring wrestlers, which we've already done.
So we can't talk about Rose McGowan's peach of an ass.
And we've watched Ready to Rumble.
So we can't talk about Rose McGowan's lovely little peachy bottom.
I mean, we'll have to see if there's any other crossover between Rose McGowan and wrestlers.
God, I'm going to hell.
Yes.
You got the bald professor who, after no time at all, is having his way with the female student, which I'm not all that bothered about something that's unpolitically correct, but this is just shit.
But then he gets bored of her anyway.
He gets bored of her, but it's just wrong.
Yeah.
Shouldn't he be struck off or something and fired and removed from his tenureship or whatever they call it over there?
Yeah.
And I have no idea what the fuck was going on with this program.
Well, it all tied together at the end because the crazy professor who wanted to deliver the perfect lecture ate the energy bar.
And then it went wrong for him. The woman who was sort of pitched as a little bit round in the middle. I think they just give her big hips and sort of saggy bosoms and really exaggerated the sag on the animation. It was shit. I've got nothing else to say, Joe. Oh, apart from the fucking bleeping. Because this is Adult Swim, and they've got to be edgy. Yeah. Bleep, bleep, bleep. Look at us. Oh, we're swearing. Oh, but we can't actually show it. I did a 5-bar gate. 13 bleeping fucks was what they did. 13 bleeping fucks.
Yeah.
This was...
You know, I'm going to have to, bleep out what you said now.
What, the word bleep?
Yeah.
This was one of the worst things I've ever watched, and they deliberately went for shit drawings because they thought, oh, South Park's funny, let's copy that. The animation's crap on that, let's copy that. South Park swear, let's swear but bleep it out because then it becomes more noticeable. This was terrible, John, and I am disappointed that I've watched it. I have to be honest with you, it was shit. At the start, I think we both agreed, oh, this is Adult Swim. It's either going to be really, really good or really, really shit. Well, John, this wasn't really, really good, was it?
This was on the Squidbillies end of the spectrum, let's be honest.
It was.
You ever seen that about the hillbilly squids?
Yes.
It's terrible.
So speaking of hillbilly squids, shall we get the chart?
No, I think we need to have a bit more of a rant about how shit this was. This was terrible. Honestly, this was.
I've seen Robot Chicken. That was shit.
Right.
I've seen American Dad. That was shit. I've seen Family Guy. That was shit.
Okay, Robot Chicken is random. You know what I mean? It's meant to be random. It's like a sketch show. Yeah, It's just funny things happening. There's no story.
It's
right?
not funny. It's not funny.
No, it doesn't need... No, but, this was in the guise of trying to be a story. There was no fucking story in this. This was terrible. This was some of the worst TV... honestly, I watched this. Do you know what? It filled me with hope because I thought to myself, you know what? I can do better writing than this. I know this for a fact. I know this for a fact. Not being arrogant, because my writing, it's maybe slightly above mediocre.
Yes.
Yeah? This was the shit. This was down in the dirt rubbish.
It was bad. I mean, it was really bad.
Yeah. So, I was thinking, I'm doing this series now. Be interesting if I could pitch it to Netflix, maybe get it on. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to pitch it to Adult Swim because they'll buy it because they seem to buy just the worst shit. I can imagine the executives getting this, watching it and going, oh, this is really shit. I mean, maybe it's not. Maybe it's really funny and I don't get it because I'm an executive. But if I don't get it and I'm old and whatever, then it must be edgy and funny. That's the only way my mind can kind of grasp this idea that this got picked up, that this got written. Not only that it got picked up, not only that it got written, not only that it got put on a TV station. What episode was this? This was the second series. A series had
we've taken this
already been produced
out of context and everything, but it was still fucking terrible.
If you were to pick up a episode of Breaking Bad, if you were to pick up an episode of Futurama, if you were to pick up an episode of any fucking half-decent show on television, you should, as a normal human being, be able to kind of go, oh, yeah, I kind of get what's going on here. This looks interesting. I'll sit back. Oh, yeah, this is interesting. I'll get this. This is good. No, this was shit. This was just the dirt worst. Really was. Can't believe I made you watch it, Colin.
Well, I think the point that stood out to me that was I wanted to know how long it had left. I paused it after 17 minutes and 48 seconds. That meant it had 3 minutes left to go. And I'm not exaggerating when I felt like I'd been watching this for about 35 minutes.
Shall I tell you why?
Because it was fucking shit.
Well, it was shit, but the reason is because it wasn't a story. There was stuff happening that didn't mean anything. And when you've got a story and you can feel it progressing and you can feel the ups and downs, you get to the midpoint and it's like, oh, This is getting good. This is getting interesting. And you get, 3/4 of the way through, you're like, oh man, this is terrible. What's going to happen? You get that moment where it's like, oh, all is lost. It's the worst. And then you get the climax, the build to the end, and it's great. This was just like, no, end. But really dragged out. Which is an accomplishment. It's like, what's it called? Like time dilation in physics. Like when you approach the speed of light?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like approaching the speed of boredom.
I was bored watching it.
It was really bad. Really bad. Really bad storytelling.
Not happy about it.
Yeah.
So, may I get the chart, John?
Which extreme end is this falling on?
If I can answer that question.
With a riddle, go on then.
With a riddle, no.
With a question? Come on, you can't.
This, if I may be so bold.
Put that away.
The end of the chart that this is going to fall on is both ends.
Ooh.
What I mean by that
is it's going to hurt.
Down and you have a little tiny rabbit poo comes
let me just
and
stop
then
you.
another bit of rabbit
Let
poo
me just
comes
stop you
out,
here.
And then it goes and
Right.
you've just shat gravy.
Is this like shoes falling out of loft?
Yes.
First couple come out, you're like, oh, what's that noise?
It's anything falling out of that top cupboard on your wardrobe.
Yeah.
This is 1-7.
Okay.
This is on the stool chart. This was the worst of both ends. It was forced, and then when that force came through, what came out was the worst shit possible. Just bum gravy. And because it's been so forced, there was a little bit of blood in there as well.
Oh, Colin.
And one now has an anal fissure.
Right. So is this not like full-on prolapse or...
You've partially prolapsed, and then you wipe your ass, and it hurts because your sphincter is bleeding a little. That's how shit this was. That was... As someone who suffers from irritable bowel syndrome, John, this takes me back to some of my worst times. As someone who suffers from celiac disease, John, this reminds me of... Yeah,
oh, I'm gluten-free.
This reminds me of the time when I ate something about a year ago which had wheat in it, and then I had felt like someone had kneed me in the stomach.
Yeah.
And then I didn't have a 1 that day. I just had a 7.
So,
and then I wiped my ass, and that was pain. And that's what this was.
So let me just say, I'm going off my memory here, and it has been a couple of years since we watched it, but I think we've only ever had a double scoring stool chart thing before.
I think so,
And
yeah.
I think that was Boy Meets World.
Yeah.
The really bad one, whichever one it was.
Yeah, not even Ready to Rumble was that.
No. I genuinely think that the patrons have got their money's worth. This has been cathartic. This is like you've been out for a curry, you've had a good clean out afterwards.
And that curry was not cooked properly.
Yeah. But,
And the meat was spoiled.
you have a bad evening, bad morning, but you get that kind of sense of euphoria when it's over. And you go, hey, I've lost 10 pounds. So, yeah.
The shit yourself slim diet.
Exactly. So, that's pretty much...
Please never watch China, Illinois, or anything on Adult fucking Swim.
Apart from Rick and Morty, which is genius.
Is that Adult Swim? I thought,
This is what I'm saying. Like, Adult Swim is just two ends of the spectrum. It's like, okay, Aqua Teen Hunger Force is brilliant, and Futurama was on there, Colin, just saying. And
it was Comedy Network.
Yeah.
It was mainly Fox. Comedy Network. It was, I think, maybe...
No, but it was picked up by them as well on repeat.
All right, but I think this is Adult Swim's own content, so that doesn't matter.
And they did Space Ghost, which was great, and they did Rick and Morty, which was great, and then they did...
Can I get into Rick and Morty?
Squidbillies, which was awful, and they did The Brack Show, which was crap, and they did Robot Chicken, yeah. So, yeah, mixed bag. I suppose if you throw enough shit, it'll stick.
So, John, would you like to plug your authoring?
Yeah, it's fine.
All right. Go buy a book. I've heard Stephen L. King is good.
Yeah, that's not me. I wish it was. Stephen R. King.
Oh, Stephen R. King, sorry.
Look him up, he'll amuse you.
I'm sure there'll be a Stephen L. King by now.
Patreon, thank you for your support. Really appreciated. Hopefully, there is actually someone listening to this. You know, let us know if you are.
We're on the Twitter.
We're on Twitter.
At WWA Podcast.
Yeah. And we're on Patreon. Hello.
Yeah, they might say, John, because they've got to get onto Patreon to listen to this. I mean, you know how it works. It's cyclical.
Right. Okay.
So they're on Patreon. We don't need to tell them that.
Is that frozen sick?
Sure.
Or is that a sixicle?
I don't know.
Either way.
Isn't that when you have sex with being choked?
So until next time.
Oh, that's asphyxiation.
Cheerio. Are you going to say bye? You just...
Bye.
God's sake, Colin.
So rude.